Welcome to the Casuals Guide to UFC Fight Night Ankalaev vs. Walker, where I let you filthy casuals know why this card is going to be a banger. And let's get right into it. In the main event, the number 3 ranked light heavyweight Magomed Ankalaev takes on a rejuvenated Johnny Walker. They will run it back since their last fight ended in a no contest when Ankalaev landed an illegal knee, followed up by some confusion between the fighter and the doctor. But now we get to see these guys run it back. Ankalaev was on a nasty streak. He had some highlight finishes against Ankalaev and Anthony Smith, but in his last 2 fights, he has had some terrible luck. In his bout against Jan Blachowicz, he had a very close fight, and the judges would rule the fight a split draw. It was a close fight, but a lot of people thought it was boring, which in my opinion was not a boring fight. Dana White for sure put the call in. Or not. Then he would match up with Johnny Walker at UFC 294. The fight would end before it could even get started. Before that fight, Walker was on a renewed run. He had won 3 in a row with a submission win over Ankalaev, a knockout win over Paul Craig, and a decision win over Anthony Smith. Both these guys have powerful offense, 25 combined knockouts. Between the both of them, Magomed can wrestle a little more, but both guys have the ability to end this fight. And with how things ended last time, both guys will be eager to make a statement. Don't miss out. In the co-main event, the number 5 ranked Matheus Nicolau takes on the number 6 ranked Manel Starboy Kopp. Both these flyweights are on the cusp of a title shot. Nicolau was undefeated in the UFC, winning 4 straight. He actually made his UFC debut against Manel Kopp back in early 2021. He would win by split decision. He would follow that up with a solid decision win over Tim Elliott. Then another decision win over David Dvorak. Then he got a great TKO finish over Matt Schnell. But in his most recent fight, he would get finished with a perfectly placed knee against Brandon Royval. No harm there since Royval just challenged for the title. But now his path crosses with an old foe. Manel Kopp has been on a run of his own. After starting his UFC career with back-to-back decision losses to Alejandro Pantoja and Matheus Nicolau, he has won 4 in a row. He would get a highlight knockout over Ode Osborne. Then he would finish a veteran in Zalga Zmagulov. Next, he followed with a decision win over David Dvorak. In his last fight, he won a decision win over late replacement Felipe dos Santos. He has gotten better over time and will be a different beast this time around. Both guys have improved and sharpened their skills. It's going to be interesting to see who has made bigger leaps. Don't miss out. Jim Miller takes on Gabriel Mowgli Benitez. The veteran Jim Miller has been around forever, and he's still causing some damage. He is 4-1 in his last 5, and all 4 of those wins were by finish. He knocked out Eric Gonzalez with a huge overhand. He had knocked down Nicholas Mota with a huge right hook. He then would be the one to retire Donald Cerrone when he submitted him via rear naked choke. He would drop a unanimous decision to Alexander Hernandez. It would be back to business when he would knock out Jesse Butler in the first round. He's still adding to his highlight reel at 40 years old. He's got a fun matchup when he faces Mowgli Benitez. Benitez is a veteran himself. He is 35 years old and has had 33 fights in his career. He's had a rocky road in the UFC, going 7-6. He is coming off a good TKO win over Charlie Ontiveros. Miller and Benitez have a lot in common. They both finished most of their fights. They are heavy-hitting strikers with some underrated grappling. We are in for a fun matchup. Don't miss out. Bantamweight prospects come together when Ricky Simón takes on Mario Bautista. Simón has been grinding his way through the UFC. He is 8-3 in the UFC, which is actually really good for how stacked his division is. He was able to rattle off 4 great wins in a row over some solid guys. He would win a decision win over Brian Kelleher. Next, he would knock out Rafael Assunção with some big strikes. Then he would upset the undefeated Jack Shore when he would submit him via rear naked choke. This would earn him a huge jump in competition as he would get matched up with Song Yadong. He gave everything he had, but he would get finished in the 5th round. And he's looking to bounce back against Mario Bautista. Mario has been on a great run ever since losing to Trevin Jones by knockout. He has made it 5 wins in a row. He beat Jay Perrine by unanimous decision. He would submit Brian Kelleher via rear naked choke. He would get another submission win when he would lock in an armbar against Benito Lopez. He would get another submission win with the rear naked choke against Guido Canetti. Then in his last fight, he would stop the momentum of Damon Blackshear by unanimous decision. He's finally found his footing in the UFC and will be looking to make a jump in competition when he faces the number 13 ranked Ricky Simón. It's going to be a fun one. Don't miss out. You casuals are in for an awesome fight when 2 heavy-hitting strikers clash as Phil Hawes takes on the Hulk Bruno Ferreira. Phil Hawes is a heavy-hitting striker who has been in a rut as of late. He has dropped his last 2 fights. He was knocked out cold by Roman Dolidze in their fight. In his latest fight, he would get knocked out cold once again by Ikram Askarov. He has taken a ton of damage and is going to have to be very careful against another powerful striker in Bruno Ferreira. Bruno has 7 wins by knockout or TKO. He is relatively new to the UFC. He won his contract on the Contender Series. He made his UFC debut against RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. He was getting pieced up for a bit, but then landed a huge left hand out of nowhere that put RoboCop to sleep. It was a gentle reminder that you can never count out his power. At 5'10", Ferreira is a little undersized for middleweight. It was a glaring issue in his last fight against Nursultan Raziboev. His low kick was countered hard and he got dropped and finished with some ground and pound. He's going to look to bounce back against a solid guy in Hawes, and with all that power, I don't think the judges will be needed. Don't miss out. Alright guys, that was my rundown of the card. I hope you casuals learned a thing or two, and we're going to start the new year off with a banger. It's going to be a great night of fights. Don't forget to tune in. And I'll see you guys next week for a drama-filled UFC 297 Strickland vs. Duplessis. But until then, protect your neck and take care.
Brother, who cares? Who cares, brother? Who cares, brother? Who cares? Today, smash.